You should also be cautious around our coastlines. FWC releasing a new red tide map today showing updated bloom concentrations throughout Tampa Bay. You can also see increasingly high concentrations off the shore of Pinellas County, where the Department of Health issued new warnings this morning. That's where 10 Tampa Bay's Malik Rankin went as small dead fish were washing ashore at Pass-A-Grille Beach.
The latest data from FWC puts Pass-A-Grille Beach at a medium level for red tide. And if you come out here, you can tell immediately from the smell of dead fish and inevitable coughing that comes with red tide exposure. If you've got a tickle in your throat at the beach, it may be a sign it's time to leave.
This is something that's a health concern because people, if they stay around red tide affected areas, can get cold-like symptoms. So runny eyes, stuffy nose, scratchy throat, things like that. So we're telling people if they are experiencing those symptoms to just stay away from the water.
For tourists, checking for red tide isn't always top of mind when heading to the beach.
I should have paid closer attention to the television, but wasn't expecting. I had heard that there was red tide south of us, but wasn't expecting to see it here in Pass-A-Grille today.
As red tide pops up in higher concentrations, next week Pinellas County will begin daily testing and share it on its website.
I mean, it's obviously a concern. It's one of the things that we do is we work very closely with the Fish and Wildlife Commission just to make sure that we keep an eye on the levels of the red tide cells that are in the water.
If you're new here or a Florida native, FWC wants you to know red tide can still impact you even if you don't see or smell dead fish nearby.
So there can be red tide in association with fish kills or not, and there may be fish kills ongoing that are not necessarily visible. And so we advise people to make yourselves aware of basically what's going on.
Having a more enjoyable beach visit is as simple as a few minutes on your phone and driving a few miles further.
We'll be checking out the forecast and finding a beach that is going to be a little more enjoyable.
If you're wondering when red tide will clear, FWC says they're only able to forecast a couple days ahead because of how quickly conditions can change. On Pass-A-Grille Beach, Malik Rankin, 10 Tampa Bay.
And we can all play a role here. If you see a fish kill, FWC wants you to report it online or by calling their fish kill hotline.
And if you see dead fish in the water, just like the video we showed you, do not go into the water. Don't swim in it. If you get a scratch from one of those dead fish bones, it could obviously lead to an infection.